After another bye week, since we have two of those now, we are back in Neyland Stadium. That's Trevor McGee. I'm Caleb Jarreau with the Daily Beacon, recapping another Tennessee football win here under the lights. Dark mode, a little bit of Venom twist. The band had lights on their head. Didn't think I expected that. I also didn't think I'd expect the game. I don't think any of us predicted what we watched. Very ugly in the first half. Tennessee pulls out because at the end of the day, they are the better football team, but it felt like a lot like when two high school teams play and one's just better but doesn't play good.
Yeah, I'd say that sums it up pretty well. Kentucky is not good at football this year.
And they're hurt, so
yeah.
even the players they do have that are good are not playing.
It should not have been a 28-18 score, which another really odd one, but the defense once again showed up to play. But it just was a really odd feel to it because Tennessee didn't play bad. They just had a lot of opportunities that they missed on, and you just hate to see every single week say that Tennessee's so close, but they're really just getting closer, and that's what makes it even more painful to watch because they're getting closer, but yet it's still not working.
Yeah, and that's a good thing you brought up. We can go right into Nico Iamaleava, who we haven't been able to talk about having a lot of good performances this season. I wouldn't say he's been bad by any stretch of the imagination, but really playing good and leading an offense. I think tonight embodied, some of his ceiling right now, really, in his redshirt freshman season. Finished the night 28 for 38 with 292 yards and a touchdown. Took only 2 sacks. Longest throw of the night was 31 yards. What's crazy to me is he had, off the top of my head, I can think of 4 or 5 drops, including 2 touchdowns that got dropped. What's wrong? Like, what's happening, Trevor? Why are they having these drop passes? And then with Nico Iamaleava, I mean, how good can he be in this offense?
Yeah, it makes you really wonder what is happening because I couldn't tell you what the answer to that is. They're practicing every week. They say in practice you have a really good week, and then you come out on Saturday and you're still dropping them. Like it's clearly a difference between what Joe Milton was last year, but you say that, and then you have Chris Brazzell who drops a 48-yard touchdown pass. He didn't play with Milton last year.
Yeah.
So it's obviously still had a change in quarterback, but you've got to be frustrated if you're Nico just a little bit because, you say you're really trusting in your receivers, but then they come out here and don't help you out that much. Not only that 48-yard touchdown that could have been that Brazzell easily could have caught in stride, but decided to fall to the ground instead.
Well, decided to dive for a ball. And I think, truthfully, that comes from some ball tracking skills. But you mentioned last year. This reminds me a lot of last year. Miles Kitselman led the way with 97 yards and a touchdown. You think back to last year, when Ramel Keaton was dropping balls on the outside. Squirrel White was having drops. Dante Thornton was having drops before he finally hit his stride. Then he got hurt. Nico was throwing to the tight ends because they were the only guys on the field that were catching the ball. McAllen Castles, remember that name? I mean, he was a consistent 5-6 guy, 5-6 catches a game guy because when Joe threw him the ball, he knew, hey, he might not be the fastest or strongest, but he's at least going to catch the ball. Yeah. And I think you saw it tonight with Miles Kitselman.
Even with Kitselman, he had 6 catches, 7 targets. That one target that he did not catch, he had in his hands in that far end zone, and that DB just made a perfect play on the ball, helmet straight to the ball. It's as textbook as it gets if you're going for the football. So Nico's stats could have looked a whole lot better. He could have easily been over 400 yards, could have had 3 touchdown passes tonight, another one in that fourth quarter, right across the middle of the field. Chaz Nimrod hit him right in the hands, fell to the ground. There was nobody in the secondary left to catch him if he would have just hauled it in. So those are 3 touchdowns off the board. And Nico he hit them tonight. That's the thing that's the most frustrating is they were hitting him right in the hands. It was no longer 5-yard overthrows. He was actually putting them right where the receiver wants it, and you have to wonder, maybe the receivers are surprised that it was actually touching their hands.
And to add on to that, Kentucky's defense did not put up much of a fight. You mentioned those drop balls. They were open for the most part, besides the one that Kitselman got lit up on, which was kind of a hospital ball in the end zone up the seam. But I said it in the press box as well when it happened. For a tight end, you expect him to make that catch because he's a tight end. But then again, that's not a drop. There were complete drops, like balls hitting guys in the stomach that they weren't catching. I mean, you talk about it all the time. If you hit a guy in the hands, that ball has to be caught. But the good part of the offense finished the night with 476 yards total. Dylan Sampson etching his name in the record book, breaking a record that's been standing since 1929, scoring his 19th touchdown tonight. He finished the game with 2 touchdowns, continues to be somebody this offense can lean on when the passing game is not working as it should. What did you say to Sampson tonight?
Once again, he cannot be brought down on first contact. I don't know if anybody this season has brought him down. The first guy to get to him has brought him down. He will easily get out of that first tackle. He'll spin around, probably spin it about 3 more times after that and get a lot of yards after contact. He's just an unstoppable force that Tennessee, once has been able to rely on, I believe, 27 carries tonight.
Yep.
He's been a workhorse back. Coming into the year, I don't think he had a single 20-carry game. Obviously, he's played in a committee.
He was third in a 3-man rotation. So
yeah, he's played in a committee most of his career, but now he's a workhorse back. He's getting that workhorse load, and obviously he's paying off with it. 142 yards tonight. That's, I believe, 7 out of 8 games this year he's been over 100 yards, and the only game he wasn't was a 92-yard performance against Oklahoma.
He's the first Vol to do that since 2007, Arian Foster. And I think after tonight's game, I saw a tweet that he's the first to do it in the SEC. Now, I can't confirm that because I just saw it on Twitter, and God knows the cesspool that Twitter is. But you're right, Dylan Sampson continues to be somebody this team can rely on. Preseason, we knew he would be like this, and he's lived up to those expectations, which I think a lot of fans are disappointed that this defense, in ways, has not lived up to those expectations. But Dylan Sampson continues to be that guy who can get the job done. And we have 4 games left this season, and he's already at 19. So he can expand that record. He can hit the career record, which is held by the same guy. Well, I believe played from 1929 to 33 maybe, or sometime like that. So football's a little bit different than it was then. I feel like they ran a little bit more, and it was played a little different. But a play that I feel like would fit into 1929 football was Dylan Sampson's touchdown in the other end zone that broke the record. He hit the back of the pile, and he had 11 guys, including Nico Iamaleava, pushing him into the end zone. That play kind of sums up what this offense has become at this point. You can't rely on one person. It has to be by committee. But we'll flip over to the defensive side, which is also by committee. 3 turnovers tonight. 2 of those turnovers, a fumble and an interception, turned directly into touchdowns, which this team has played complementary football. I don't know if we expected it to be this complementary this early, I would say. I mean, last year you look at it, the defense was non-existent, really, and the offense struggled. Now both sides are kind of pulling their own weight, and the defense especially continues to be like Dylan Sampson, somebody that when everything else is going wrong and your wide receivers are dropping passes and you can't sustain drives, you know your defense is going to play well.
Yeah, absolutely. Will Brooks once again jumping in front of a pass, bringing it 66 yards, got gassed at the end there, didn't take the sideline route.
Yeah.
Didn't make it a pick six, but it still
Clearly
set
not
up
a
a
ball
Tennessee
carrier.
turnover. And they put them in the red zone. They scored on 2 turnovers tonight, which is also an improvement because that offense has been stalling when the defense creates something. But that defense, in a way, maybe it's just me, but you could say it was partially disappointing because they started off really slow. They allowed Kentucky to go on a long drive. They got bailed out in that first drive with a 4th down failure. That was just a really bad play call. Kentucky scored 18 points, felt like they could have scored more at some points. Kentucky's offensive line also hasn't been very good. You only got a couple sacks tonight. Big ones at that. James Pierce got wide open straight through the middle of the line. Got to, I guess it may have been Wimsatt at that point. Joshua Josephs did the same, came around the edge, knocked it loose.
Brock Vandergriff got hurt on the James Pierce sack, which every game this year, Tennessee has managed to injure the other team's starting quarterback because of how much they're in the backfield. I'm not going to be a Debbie Downer like Trevor. I'm going to let you know that Tennessee will force Kentucky to go 0 for 2 on 4th down conversions and 4 of 14 on 3rd down conversions, Trevor, and only 360 yards tonight, which seems like a lot. Yes, turned into 18 points, only 19 first downs.
I'm not going to say
those
the
first
defense...
downs didn't come on 3rd downs. When the defense got 3rd down, they got off the field, forced a fumble, 2 picks. Andre Turrentine had a pick, which you didn't give him credit for because it was a tip ball. All I'm saying is Tennessee does not win this game if the defense doesn't play how they did. And I think this defense continues only in the red zone twice for Kentucky, too.
In no way am I saying the defense was bad. The only thing I'm saying
just disappointing.
is that it was a disappointing effort. I'm going to put it in air quotes now because the expectation they've set this season is to be a whole lot better. And Kentucky should not have scored 18 points for what Kentucky has been this season. That is all I'm saying. The defense was spectacular. By all means, it was really good. And it was mostly to the standard that it has played this year. But you feel like it could have been better. But if that's the point we're at this season, I'm not going to complain anymore.
Arian Carter leads the way with 10 tackles. Jalen Smith with 9 total tackles. Ricky Gibson the third with 6. Boo Carter with 4. We end all of these videos by shouting out the special teams because senior staff writer Jack Church is a big special teams homer. We always end it with the special teams. Jackson Ross, good night tonight. Couple good punts, really showed some poise. Max Gilbert, what did you do tonight, Trevor?
We're going to go back to the preseason when Mike Eckler said, we have 3 NFL-type specialists in that room. I think it's time to maybe dial in and practice and see what JT Carver as well as Josh Derbyville maybe have as those NFL-type specialists. Because Max Gilbert, while a big-legged kid, was not a good night. 0 for 3 on field goals that would be chip shots for what he could be. Goes back to Alabama where he missed 2 50-yarders. It makes you wonder, did those 2 50-yarders kill his confidence? Because our vantage point up in the press box on field goals, worst possible thing known to man. But when you've missed 3 kicks inside of 50 yards, 40, 43, and 34-yard kicks, pretty badly, I say need a little evaluation.
1 for his last 6 on field goals. Perfect on extra points still. Senior staff writer Jack Church will always tell us that it's a 3-man operation. You've got the holder, the snapper, and the kicker. It is not the holder's responsibility to spin the laces. The snapper's supposed to get it to him in perfect form. Those are tough too, like you said, because you can't really tell from the press box if the hold is good or the snap is good, aside from obviously, the basics, like he catches it. But there is something going on with the kick, with the field goal unit. Max Gilbert, though, did come clutch. Like Heupel said in Alabama, he said he still has confidence in him. Maybe it's some preparation things, like the way the offense is running. They're not setting him up to build confidence, like 25, 26-yard shots. He's going straight to 50-yard shots. There's a little bit, it's a mix of everything. All I know is that General Neyland said it. Breaks are made in the special teams. You want to have good field goal kicking, especially in November and where Tennessee is going, because if you looked at any of the scores today, Georgia did not play good, and a lot of playoff contenders fell today. So the road is open for Tennessee. They just have to win out and win convincingly, I would say, in some of those games. And that comes with field goal kicking. That comes with the defense playing good. That comes with this offense that's been so close, finally getting over the hump. So for Trevor McGee, I'm Caleb Jarreau. It is 1:20 a.m. here in Neyland Stadium, thanks to a 7:45 p.m. kickoff. Funny enough, though, tonight when it hits 1:59 a.m., it's just going to hit It's going to hit to 1 a.m. again, right?
Yep.
Go back. Well, time, man. You're gonna time travel. So this video might go up at real 1 a.m. It might go up at fake 1 a.m. Anyways, for Trevor, I'm Caleb from Neyland Stadium. We'll see you next week for homecoming.